here's Brody Brazil.
So the NHL's preseason is upon us here in 2025. Teams are obviously already starting to play games, and fans are noticing that their favorite players are showing up to the rink like they've never seen them before. Case in point, closest to me here on the screen, that's Tyler Toffoli, and how he showed up to SAP Center the other night before the Sharks took on the Vegas Golden Knights. He's casual. He's business casual. Still looking nice. Collared shirt, probably some Lululemon joggers there. Very nice, very appropriate. I see nothing wrong with that. But on the far left of your screen, there are his teammates, kind of like his kids, Macklin Celebrini and Will Smith. Now, in fairness, that photo was from last season, but that's what you're accustomed to. That's how players always showed up for home games and road games and travel days, full suit and tie. By the way, the coffee in their hands, that's extremely optional, but pretty much everybody is holding a coffee on their way into the rink. But the main point here is that there's no more dress code. There's no more requirement starting this season, not just the regular season, but already here in the preseason, no more requirement like there was league-wide for all those years to show up and to travel in a full suit and tie. Let's explain first how it always was, and then what happened here, some of the reasoning behind that, what the players think about that. We'll cover everything in this video. Suit and tie was the league-wide dress code, but really the hockey-wide dress code. Players in the OHL, players in the AHL, doesn't matter what league you're in, you come to the rink in a suit and tie. You always do because that's what the NHLers did. You are formal in a suit and tie, shirt, suit and tie, to and from games, both home and away, and on travel days, meaning when you're boarding the plane, suit and tie. And then you know what happens as soon as they board that charter flight? I know, I've been there, seen it many times. Everything is discarded like almost instantly because that flight is private. Nobody sees you on the plane. You do whatever you want inside the plane. As soon as you go up those stairs, you put your stuff away, and you basically strip down and take almost everything off. But where the public can see you, full suit and tie. This years ago was implemented for unity among teammates, professionalism of players in the league, and respect that they wanted everybody to have, especially when traveling to road cities. They wanted people to look at the opposing team and say, wow, they dressed up to be here in our city. They respect us. Again, it seems like it's such a 50s or 60s thing, but such is the case. Standards were obviously loosened during the 2020 and 21 seasons from the bubble to back out of the bubble. And teams were like, and the league was like, hey, look, track suits are fine. Just everybody try and match. We don't even care anymore. So everybody got away from it for those times. And then everybody went back to the full-on suit, shirt, and tie. And again, like I said, players, as soon as they get to the rink, do you think they walk around in their suit and tie for very long? They literally park their car, get out of their car, sip their coffee a few times, walk in the room. That's my sound effect. Within 3 minutes, they're changed into shorts and a workout shirt and tennis shoes and workout shoes. It's their land stuff that they put on. So literally, it's like the suit and tie. It didn't even last long to begin with. It was only for show, for photos. The inconvenience, by the way, of being a hockey player and having to travel with so many formal outfits. Imagine this. You're an NHLer on a 7-game road trip. How many suits are you going to pack in your suitcase? It's supposed to be a respectable size suitcase. Yes, it's a charter flight. You're not flying on the airlines. You're not checking in your luggage. You literally hand it to somebody else and they take care of it for you. But you're not going to pack 7 different suits. And you don't want to be wearing the same suit every single game like some players seem to have their favorites. I'll just leave it at that. But how many suits do you have to bring? And then post-game, like you're putting the suit back on, which I'm going to talk about the sweating aspect in just a second. You're putting a suit on, just to drive home for the night? Or for the bus ride? Like if you're the visiting team, you go from the rink to the bus brings you to the airport, and then you're right back on the plane. Who saw you other than the 10 people leaving the rink as you got on the bus? Like there's no point for all of this. Nobody's even going to see what you look like. Even really when you walk in, the television networks take a couple shots. Sometimes they roll those in on the broadcast or photos exist on social. That's basically it, right? This is not a big exposure thing. But I'm going to mention this too. You play a road game, okay? You're sweating like crazy. You got to get out of there pretty quick. They write oftentimes on the grease board what time the first bus is. Sometimes there's a second like floater bus, but usually when you're getting out of town, there's one bus time. And you can't miss that bus, by the way. You got to hustle. You got to take a shower, put your stuff together, get out of there ASAP. You can't stop sweating. I can't tell you how many times I've seen an NHL player on the bus sitting right in front of me in the row ahead of me, and you can see the sweat through their suit jacket. You know, a suit jacket's like multiple layers, but they're still sweating so profusely, like the shower didn't do it, cooling off didn't do it. And they got to put a suit on, and it's all buttoned up here, no room to breathe, and you're still sweating. Why are we doing this to ourselves? And then you're getting into the next road city at like 2 a.m., let's say, hypothetically. Yes, I've been there before in that situation too. It's 2 a.m., you're arriving in Southern California, to play the Ducks in 2 nights or whatever, and you got the formal clothes on, you got the suit and tie on at 2 a.m. checking into the hotel. All of this with limited human interaction. Like, there's really been no point. It's such an inconvenience. I love dressing up. I love looking nice and professional. Trust me, I'm all about presentation. But even I think this was a little bit too much. So what happened here? The NHL and the Players Association, they agreed to this new CBA, which actually starts next year. Like next season when they're going to play 84 total regular season games. There's a lot of new implementations for next year, but they already decided, hey, let's throw the dress code in early. Let's start it in 25-26. The new CBA also removes the team ability to have individual dress codes. Like, for example, the Toronto Maple Leafs can't come out and say, well, that's fine, players can do what they want, but our team dresses up in suits and ties. Or the Detroit Red Wings can't say, our team does it this way. Teams have no control. This is a league-wide thing. They wrote that in. They baked it in to the new agreement. The new dress code, if you're wondering, so what is the actual dress code? Where do we draw the line? How creative are people going to get? Which I think everybody's going to pretty much look like a golfer at the very least, is going to be out there looking like a golfer. The new dress code is defined as contemporary fashion norms. Who comes up with this stuff? Contemporary fashion norms is the new NHL dress code. Players seemingly approve of it. The Athletic, the publication, does a tremendous player poll, and they said, what's the one thing that you're happy was included in this new next CBA, which is, by the way, great. It's already done. The next CBA is done. You don't have to worry about a lockout or a strike or missing games. Like, we're good for a lot of years right now. NHL's in a great place with the players. The number one thing with 16 votes out of 48 total responses, and yeah, shorter training camp and no fitness testing, those were also popular, but 16 players in this poll, this anonymous poll, said no dress code was the thing they were most happy about being included in the brand new CBA. And look, you can relate the NHL to other sports. I mean, look at LeBron James showing up to a game in 2019 on the left. There's Travis Kelce a couple weeks ago, and I guess he actually technically is in a suit and tie. And suit shorts. What? And by the way, those dress shoes without any socks, I've worn a lot of dress shoes in my day. And they're okay. I mean, some are more comfortable than others, but none of them I would risk without any socks. There's not a lot of cushioning in there. And even if those really are like $4,000 shoes, I'm not sure they're providing much comfort. But again, how long does he need that outfit for? 5 minutes total? So other sports don't have these limitations. And I'm keeping it pretty straightforward here on the photos I've used for examples. I could show you a number of different players, and especially basketball. It feels like basketball is exploring and experimenting with style and how far players will go with what they're wearing on all ends of the spectrum, like crazy or unexpected or really, really finely dressed. But I think the point here is that these players can show some personality. They can market themselves. They can have brand deals. They can do stuff that hockey players could never do because they were constrained by a very specific dress code. Look, I agree. Here are my takeaways. I agree with professionalism. I love dressing up and overdressing. And actually, if you're going to, err on one side or the other, better to overdress than underdress. But none of this was functional with the suits and shirts and ties for 5 minutes at a time. And it's just a walk-in shot. And this is 2025. It's the same way that in media, nobody cares. Like, here I am on a YouTube channel. I don't need a suit and tie and a shirt and tie here to present to you. You just want to see regular old Brody Brazil. in the home studio. People are used to casual now. It's fine. And nobody's stopping the players from keeping their routines or superstitions. I suspect that more than half the league is still going to show up in suits and ties. I bet you in year one like this, I bet you we're talking about, I bet you 30%. 30%, and mostly veteran players. The young ones, I don't know that they're feeling courageous enough to buck against the trend of how it's always been done. I bet 30% or fewer are going to try not wearing suits to the rink for the full year. But nobody's stopping the players who want to keep doing that from, again, their routines and traditions. I do worry that in the NHL, some players who start wearing whatever they want, so long as it fits that bar and it fits that definition of contemporary fashion norms or whatever, those players are going to be seen as, oh, they're too individual. I'm not saying selfish, but that might be a criticism. Oh, they're selfish if they're wearing their own style of clothes by being themselves. That's ridiculous. But I do think that hockey players and the hockey community might start looking at players that way. I really do. But I think overall, can hockey players become just a little bit more relatable by dressing like a lot of people do on a regular basis? Yeah, some people still wear suits and ties to work. But how many? How many people even go to an actual office anymore in 2025? Right? This is more like the Zoom call that most people are on. In fact, at least Tyler Toffoli is wearing nice pants. Most people, I think, are in shorts. Like I'm wearing right now. Yeah. This is the point. We're in a totally different era, totally different time. The NHL is just opening the door to this. I'm glad they're doing it. I want to know what you think. Let me know in the comments section below. Do you agree with me? Do you not agree with me? Do you think they need a formal dress code? Do you think it doesn't even matter? Or are we about to find out over the course of this first experimental season? Also, thumbs up while you're down there. Helps me, this video, this channel. And don't forget, hit that subscribe button. I would love to see you back here next time.